Dana of the Glare channel. More Guess Who. Alright, you heard that solo. Randy Bachman solo. And neck pickup. Now, he originally did that on a semi-hollow body, either Gretsch or Gibson guitar. And, you know, like neck pickup. Here's with a tone all the way up. Roll that tone all the way off. The woman tone. And that's another one of those solos that it's just everybody recognizes it when they hear it. And that's one of those type of solos that you learn. This is probably one of the very first solos that I ever picked out totally by ear. And I mean, I was a young guy. It took a long, long time, but I got it. I basically got it right. There was nothing to change the way I was doing it. And with those bends, it's harder for me to bend now. And I'm going to show you two examples of the main solo. One on the Telecaster and then the other one on a Strat style guitar and using the whammy bar instead of going. I'm going to use the whammy bar for that. Which, if I'm using my my Strat, it's a crapshoot on which way I do it. If I'm having a good day and I feel good, if I'm not, I'll whammy bar it. You know, it depends on how it goes. But that the whole song never changes, and they wrote this song on stage. Randy had broken a string, and he had a guitar with I believe a Bigsby style bridge on it, and he broke a string, so he had no spare guitar, he had no backup back then, so he had to restring the guitar, and he didn't have a guitar tech, and you know, he had to get a string out, he had to fiddle around with that Bigsby, which, you know, a guitar like that, the string breaks, everything goes out of tune. He said he didn't have a tuner, they always tuned to Burton's piano. So Burton's way off stage, and he's back hanging around talking to people in the back of the theater that they were playing in, or the back of the hall that they were playing in. And Randy's tuning up, and he starts doing. And the other guys started playing along with him. And somebody had said, just keep playing that. And he was trying to get Burton's attention, and finally got Burton down onto the stage. He said, sing something. Burton just started making up words. Well, I don't believe at that time any of those solos were involved. I think after they got into the studio, he worked the solos out, put the solos to it. Now, when that song hit #1 in 1970 or 71, they were all in a hotel room together, and according to Randy Bachman, they all started jumping up and down on the hotel beds when they found out the song had gone to #1. And it held #1 for quite a while. And when they asked Burton Cummings what the meaning of the song is, he goes, well, it's really not an anti-American woman song. It's a pro-Canadian woman song. Because they were Canadian, and it's like, yeah, right, Burton. We'll buy that. We'll buy that. But that solo, that. There's so many bends in that song. And like I talked about Kurt Winter with his bends. And his vibrato on his thing. Randy had the same thing going for him. He used that stuff all the time. And they like that woman sound, that woman tone, as opposed to having that tone up. Now, Randy eventually got to playing Les Pauls. And at some point, because of his back and his weight and everything else, the doctor told him, you know, you're not going to play the guitar anymore. You got to give it up. And he was like, yeah, right, that's not going to happen. So he switched over live playing Stratocasters because they were lighter guitars. And he even went to some other Strat-style guitars that were just a lot lighter than a Les Paul. And it was strictly because of the weight, according to him. You know, from what I've heard him say, it was because of the weight. But I'm going to show you an example of playing the solo on the Telecaster, and then I'll show you an example of playing it on the Stratocaster with a whammy bar. Okay? So let's get into that. What a great solo. Phil X says that's one of his favorites. Every time he gets on a guitar, one of the first things he does is... He loves that, and I think he especially likes it with a P90, which makes it sound real cool. But, you know, doing those bends, and a lot of times I'll pull it down. I don't have what I used to have because of the hands getting numb from the degenerative disc disease. See how that plays out. It's even getting hard to hold the pick. But that's another thing that I want to talk about, but I'll do that in another video, is, you know, a solo like that, that's almost the whole thing, because there's no speed picking. I do almost, or probably the whole thing, with downstrokes. You can go up if you want, but you don't think of it. It's just all downstrokes, and that's just another case of when I learned that solo so long ago. Way so long ago. Okay, the song came out in 1969, all right? So I learned it, you know, it was one of the, as soon as I learned bar chords and could go. And I learned that part, I was working on that solo. And I'll tell you what, you know, that wasn't something I worked out even overnight. You know, it was hours and hours and hours of listening to the record, singing that solo in my head, hearing it in my head, thinking. And when I got to this part, ah, man, you know, finding those other parts, you could just bend around and find them and get that little lick, that you had to pick out every one of those notes separately. So, you know, it wasn't a slow process. So, all right, now I'll show you how I learned it. Now, I learned that song on a Fender Duo Sonic, okay, which was basically a Mustang, but it had two pickups and two switches up here that turned the pickup off in the middle. It would phase it one way, going the other way, and if you flipped it back the other way, it was a three-way switch. It reverse phase on it, so you could do all these different combinations with the pickups. And I learned that on a Duo Sonic, a Fender Duo Sonic, which was like I think it was even, not full Fender scale. It was like 3/4 scale. So, all right, here's an example of it on the Horizon with or Predator. Well, on the Predator with a whammy bar. That's a hard thing to do, to quiver on a bend. It's tough, especially with 10s. I can do it a little better with 9s because I've gotten used to playing 9s, but it's not that much of a difference, but there is a difference. So, but what a great solo to play. What a fun song to play. The big challenge is singing it in the range that Burton sang it. I've actually seen him do it where he went, American woman, get away from me, American woman. I've seen him sing the whole song that way because he just wasn't confident in the voice that day. Or, maybe it had been blown out. They toured a lot. They played a lot. They were big on the Midnight Special. Wolfman Jack loved them. Remember Clap for the Wolfman? That was written about Wolfman Jack, and that came out for American Graffiti with Ronnie Howard in it. And that was just a great song and a great movie too. But American Woman, give it a shot, ear it out. You can watch me play it, you can see it. And I've never done a lesson on it, but there are lessons on YouTube for it. And it'll probably show you a little bit different than the way I play it, but hey, that's okay. However you want to play it, the whole point is just making it sound good, right? All right, well, as I'm a big Guess Who fan with my America shirt on. Viva l'America. Viva la Canada. Think about that one. All right, so that's it. American Woman, the Guess Who, Randy Bachman, Kurt Winter, Burton Cummings. So that's it for this video. All right, everybody. Out with the old and with the new. Until next time, hang in there.